Hi. Thank you for tuning in, Psychic Frank's Mystery School. I'm usually at BayVac, SF Commons here in San Francisco, Bay Area Video Coalition. But thanks to the way things are now, they're allowing me to do my shows out of here, out of my little apartment where I've been for the last 30 years here in Hayes Valley, San Francisco, which is like the whole city is it's like a twilight zone. It's like an episode of the Twilight Zone. Very few stores are open. Lines are around the block. So, this is happening for us, not to us. Yeah, we got the Aries sun still in Aries until the 19th of April, where at 7:45 p.m., that's a Sunday, the sun will enter Taurus. So Venus rules. And actually, we're going to talk about the mountain astrologer for April and May is here. And we've got the April 22nd uh, Taurus new moon. Yeah, that's all about press the reset button. The Taurus new moon exhibits a determination to. Gabby, please, darling, we're busy, darling. Determination. There's a portal up on the curtain rod, and that's the corner. And I've been doing readings out of this apartment for 30 years, and that's the portal where the guides come in. That's where the dead come in, the live, all kinds of things come in. Beautiful things, beautiful. And Gabby, whenever I start doing anything psychic, she's right up there. That's her job. A lot of psychics have either birds or cats or dogs. And I had a dog for a long time, 14 years. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. See, we just had the Libra, where the sun's still in Aries now. We had the Libra full moon just last night. Gabby, we're busy now, darling. Come on, stop that. Come here. Come on. Come on down here. Come here. Come here, honey. Okay, she'll walk over here. Yeah, so it's all about keeping balance and, and adjusting, and using that Aries courage, the courage of Aries to look within. Yeah, because actually, the North Node for the United States of America is Leo North Node, South Node. Aquarius, and actually Saturn and Jupiter are in Aquarius right now. Uh, as of last night, yeah, Saturn and Mars actually 1 degree Saturn. Last night, Saturn was 1 degree Aquarius, and Mars is 5 degrees Aquarius. Yeah, so and then come July, Saturn goes back into Capricorn, and then at Christmas it teams up with Jupiter, both in Aquarius. And also, what we got going on now is Jupiter and Pluto conjunct a few days ago. That happens 3 times. That happens 3 times. Even though, yeah, Phallus is an interesting planet. We're going to talk about that. It's an asteroid, and it plays a profound role in our experience throughout 2020. Each time that Jupiter and Pluto align, April 4th, June 29th, and November 12th. Phallus is separated by less than a 60-degree arc, 60-degree arc, minutes rather, not a degree, from the degree of their conjunction. And when the final Jupiter-Pluto conjunction perfects in November, around the 18th, I believe, all 3 planetary bodies are synchronistically at exact 22 degrees Capricorn 52 minutes. So with a big red circle that on your calendar, the last of these. So Pluto's the underworld, and Pluto represents death, destruction, and rebirth. We're in the deconstruction phase now. Mother Nature said, "You can't now go on this way." So many people. There's so many theories going on, and they're not just theories. They're some of them are based on facts, and people are calling me from all over America, and telling me, this is, did you read, listen to this video, listen to this. And as an open mind, I want to keep abreast. And there's several that are just based with facts. I mean, you're not trick photography or fake news. The whole thing about them amping the vibrations that the computers, I don't know what they are, from 20 to 60 amps, which there's a clip from a senator in Washington D.C. actually grilling these fat cats that are making this, and asking them if there are any physical uh, reactions to this, any physical, how it's going to affect the human body at all. And they say, no, 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 not at all. When actually there's facts that it affects the hemoglobin. So that's one thing I think. We got to look at this as a multifaceted jewel, and don't be so quick to say, this is why this is happening. This is why this is happening. No, this is why this is happening. This is why this is happening. This is why this is happening. It's a multifaceted jewel. So I believe that's one big facet of it. To make these cruise ships so they could play their games faster there and get their messages faster there. They're jacking it up like 50 amps or something. Anyway, it's out there on the web if you want to check it out, and I can actually forward it to you if you email me. I usually have the Psychic Frank Mystery School. There's two websites now, Psychic Frank's Mystery School or Psychic Frank Mystery School is the email address. One of those two, either with the apostrophe or S, or without the apostrophe S. But you could email me. The second is there's all kinds of them now. Banks. There's this thing about the banks. There's many, and I believe there's a lot of validity to it. We're at the end of the Piscean age, the most corrupt age, thousands of years now, the cruelest, most sadistic. As we approach the dawning of the age of Aquarius, so check out where late Capricorn is, and especially that 22-degree Capricorn, and see what else you got 22 degrees, because that's forming aspects there. If you have any other planets, no matter what sign they're in, if you know your chart. Because with Pluto, you got to keep your margins permeable. And then, as I said, and the Mountain Astrologer I have in front of me is the Taurus new moon coming up on April 22nd at 7:25 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And this is an article in the Mountain Astrologer by Diana, Diana McMahon, McMahon, Collis, Collis, and she writes, the Taurus new moon exhibits a determination to fully fulfill certain plans and find fulfillment, no matter what kinds of obstacles may have stood in the way previously. There's only one reason anybody looks back. That's because at that magic moment, they are choosing to be bitter. Rather, there's only one reason people are bitter, is because at that moment they're looking back. So if you're looking back, you're choosing to be bitter right now. So you got to train your mind to stay in the present. Where are your feet, Frank? Today is the 8th of April, 2020. I'm in San Francisco, and life is wonderful. We finally got a lot of rain, so there's no reservoirs are filled. California has like 4 seasons: drought, flood. I forget the other two. I can't do 2 things at once there. So this is likely. Okay, so don't look back. Where we have stood previously. This is likely based not just on desire, but a deep down sense of need. If needs are not met, this can eventually have a profound effect on us, which possibly reverberates into various areas and layers of existence. It may be like an ongoing hunger, which just gets stronger, so that the level of need then seems to increase exponentially. The Taurus moon reminds us that not only to notice when a new need is making itself known, but also be careful not to delay on doing something and try to to try to meet the needs. With Uranus conjunct this new moon coming up on April 22nd, there could be an added pressure to make things happen. But if the approach is of digging in our heels, as is usual Taurus fashion, doesn't achieve the desired results, Uranus also hints at the wisdom of being able to break the mold and change track. Even Taurus sometimes needs to turn a corner and try something different. Now, this is important here because I underlined it. Uranus, with its lightning bolt association, does represent the power to dislodge anything that is stuck or getting in the way. So this energy could be helpful for finally moving past blocks, whether this be at a personal, professional, or other level. I think on every level, collectively, we're all dealing with these blocks. Like we're all under house arrest. And there's, as I said, I heard this woman on the news the other day, one of the good things from this. What do you mean one of it? There's nothing but good things from this. I mean, this is Mother Nature saying, waking up. Okay, I fell asleep for 100 or so years, you know. I wake up and look what you did to my planet. Look what you did to me. You know, we've been raping Mother Earth like never be. You know, so what do you expect? What do you expect? Mother Nature is gonna. This is tough love. This is Mother Nature's tough love. And already the planet's bouncing back. I mean, our atmosphere is cleaner than it's been. They're saying since, decades and decades. So, yeah, I'm not, by all means, the observer, the non-emotional observer. I'm just observing what's going on. So, I lost my mother, this one died. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of people hating me for saying, be grateful of this. On YouTube, my last YouTube video, the show I did here is up YouTube, and it got like 56 views and one like. No hates, no dislikes, but I guess people don't like what I'm saying. They watch me, I guess, obviously, if they tuned in to watch, but maybe they just are turned off by my frankness. Well, anyway. I'm happy, and I know people. I do, and that one message I got from this guy who calls himself Dragon thanked me and corrected me for I couldn't remember our mayor's name here in San Francisco. It's London Breed, and I didn't. Once again, those of you who voted for London Breed, I don't want to like spit in your face, but she's been spitting in our face, and I'm saying I say for the last. It was Ed Lee and then Gavin. These people, when we go to City Hall, I get a call from Axis of Love, which I'm no longer. I think they're still around, but I've gone on. But we were activists, and we got 215 passed, and then they threw us under the bus. And then I'd get calls saying, okay, we're all going to meet at City Hall because once a month they have these in the big meeting room up there, and it's televised on city stations in San Francisco on cable. So, and you get to talk to the supervisors and the mayor about your issues. And I'd be there with my my rag army of, veterans with all kinds of emotional problems. One guy, a married man on dialysis, and I would work on him and his wife. So, these people I wanted to tell Ed Lee, Gavin, and London Breed about their experience and how cannabis is, and how cannabis has helped them, and where pharmaceuticals. Once again, it's a mystical experience aside from, and they wouldn't hear of it, and this went on and on and on. We would sit there for hours. And then just when we're always at the end of the agenda. And then when it came time for us to go out, I'd see London Breed's ass walk out the door. I'd see Ed Lee's fat ass walk out the door. And Gavin, oh my God, he would, if he ever showed up, it was with a clothespin on his nose. He just couldn't stand to be in the room with poor people. And then I figured it out. It's hard. If you put faces with the names, it's hard to kill people. It's hard to throw people under the bus. So I forgive him for that. Well, I don't, we're all here to forgive. Life is an exercise in forgiveness, huh? But, so when I am harsh on, this mayor we have, keep in mind, she's not only spit in my face metaphorically, but all of my friends, all of the people good people who have benefited by cannabis and took their own suffering aside to sit in City Hall, only to be turned around and pretty much they gave us the finger and walked away, saying "screw you," and now we're paying the price of it. So keep in mind, I always say, don't complain, don't explain. But it's not that I'm disrespecting you for voting but we were all bullshitted into this woman, and actually the last 3 decades, last three mayors we've had has been a nightmare for us. It's like we're not going to end up. I just wanted to explain a little about why I'm so harsh with those people, is because. As I said, when I called her ignorant, is because anybody who's recovered from any kind of deep addiction, heroin, alcoholism, speed, whatever, nasty, nasty addictions, it's through a mystical experience, that a spiritual awakening, that they were healed. And it's by other addicts that keep them alive. Like every time I walk down the street and I see a junkie shooting up in an archway, well, you don't see them anymore because the streets are pretty clean now. They're all finally getting housing. I hope it's not just temporary, but they're being put up. But that's what keeps me clean and sober. They're my 12-step there. They 12-step me every time I see them. And like Mother Teresa said years ago, when homelessness, this was decades ago, she found herself in Phoenix. She was making a tour of the United States, going to these big cities, and Phoenix, I guess, is a city where the homeless is pretty much ignored, or they're not doing enough. And she didn't say anything during this whole show. And then this guy in his morning TV show said, "I can't believe I have a living legend, an actual contemporary living saint on my show, and it's such an honor. And you're sitting here and you haven't opened your mouth for the whole hour. We have 2 minutes left. Can you say anything to my audience about why you're here?" And then she said, "I'm here to bring attention to the plight of the homeless. If anybody wants to help me, get up early in the morning, roam the streets of Phoenix, and find someone who's homeless and feels they're alone, and convince them they're not." This sort of ties into what I talked about my last. I was pretty open about my out-of-body experience back in September of 1982, where I left my body and came back a changed person. I thought I was a walk-in, like Ruth Montgomery talked about walk-ins. I thought I was a walk-in, but I wasn't. Nobody walked out, and then, as I said, before I came back into my body, I was you can't explain it, but I was in this, bombarded by love. It was just the most, I never felt more loved or more part of anything. And then, it's funny, I said to it was a telepathic conversation, but it was, I'm thinking it was pretty feminine. I don't think it was a masculine voice. That's interesting. And I have a Taurus moon in the 12th house, so that makes sense. But anyway, when they convinced me that it would be better for me to come back in and finish my mission, I said to them at the last thing, I said, "Okay, I'll go back." I'm so glad I did. And they said one thing for me. They said, "Never forget, you're never alone." And I do forget that sometimes. And it's interesting now. All the media is network TV, is all these football players, and all people from all walks of life are on TV saying we're not alone. We're all in this together. So we're not alone. We're not alone. Most of the people, I've been thinking about this, most of the people doing hard time in prison for murder and whatnot are usually in a blackout. I think when we black out on alcohol or drugs, what we do is any bad spirit can take over our body. So that's why I think alcohol, social drinking. You know what a social drinker is? Social drinker does like a drink like that every hour. Who in the hell drinks? Why bother? Why bother? When I drank for effect. I think that's the thing of cannabis. I mean, you could smoke a whole ounce and still be on your feet. The best stuff. No one ever died of an overdose of cannabis, huh? I wish the medical community could say as much for all these ads they're doing. The side effects for these ads are amazing. Happiness. When you laugh in the devil's face, he blows away. Okay, so that's the. Okay, it is also true that Uranus can sometimes send a bolt of out of the blue to alert us to a problem or issue, but usually in a quite uncomfortable way. This is exactly what's going on. We may feel rather exposed, rather becoming more aware of our shortcomings. Yeah, it goes. With the outer planets, we often divest ourselves of anything non essential and regretting what we've needed to let go of because of the new world that opens up so much better. The new world that's opening up is so much better. So let's get through this and then do this rebirth. But say we live in this instant gratification society, and this is like Pluto's like molasses on a cold winter's day. Come on, Pluto. We haven't even come, we're within an 8-degree orb, but the Pluto return is starting 2021 to 2025. That's when Pluto will join Saturn and Jupiter next year for a little bit, and then when they've moved on, Saturn and Jupiter moved on to other signs, because Jupiter changes signs every year and Saturn every 2.5 years. Jupiter expands everything. It's a healing, justified planet. Brings justice, synonymous with justice. And Saturn's the structure of our life. It's not too big on levity. It's a very warped sense of humor, if you ask me, but it's a sense of humor. And then there's Pluto, the planet of death, destruction, and rebirth. So that kicks in next 2021. We're going to start feeling this more. So keep our margins permeable and keep your and also, as I said, the nodes change from Cancer, Capricorn to North Node Gemini, South Node Sagittarius. So that's going to be once again mental flashes. We're going to, it's like taking a smart pill. Okay, I want to talk about the new. See, America's going to have its North Node return. The North Node is going to be is happening right now. Yeah, the North Node. Let me get the Mountain Astrologer here for April 7th. That was yesterday. Is 2 degrees Capricorn is the South Node and 2 degrees Cancer. And then it goes 1, 0, and then 29 Gemini. So if you got all you Geminis out there, this is going to be a good year for you. The year to key. See, one of those Gemini twins is mortal. One of them is immortal. Every time one gets a good idea, the other one is going to get like 10 ideas why that idea never works. So we're going to talk more about that. So get ready for that. So the numerology. So when we have our nodal return, let me see, an arc of development south. Nodal returns. Okay, let's get away from that. Okay, so for the United States of America, we're a 5 life path. We're a 5 life path, and this is a 33-6 year for us because our day and month vibrates to 11. 2020 is 22 year. 11, 22, 33, 44. Those are master numbers. You don't reduce to single digits. So we keep those numbers elevated. So you could look up personal year 633, and that's what's going on for us. So we add 6 to every month. So this is a 1 month. 6 and 4 is 1. So this is a 1 month for the United States of America. And May actually will be, for the universal vibration for the whole planet is 4, 22, 4 year. So it's all about nurturing. And 22 is seeking individuality, one's own personality, and the desire of being improved. It highlights the highest oscillation of 4, which is very motherly. It knows what the kid needs before it even knows it needs it. Yeah, Gabby, where you be, honey? Where are you, darling? Where are you, sweetheart? Oh, oh, there you are. There she is. See her? There she is. Yeah, she's eating an apple. Let me get this out of the way here. I don't know what that showed up from. Okay, it is an inextinguishable energy that is directed towards metaphysical matter, since what is learned by the 4 on a personal level is manifested by the 22 at a universal level. Humanitarian causes are big, along with pressuring our natural resources. Just this morning, I heard an ad where some corporation is going on about where people profit and then planet people profit. As I said, that's where it's got to be planet people profit. Um, they just live out the planet. They said we're people and then profit, but they're getting there. They're getting there. Okay. Well, before I get on to this happiness thing, I want to read a little bit about this happiness thing because it's called a book called Happiness by Matthew Richard, Matthew Richard, and he talks here about many people have come to me over the last, I've been doing this for 35, 40 years, and a lot of intelligent people will ask me their attachment to their self, what they think is their true, honest, good, their true self that they're in love with. They love who they are. They don't want to lose that self. And that's puzzled me. And then reading this book, it became very clear to me that what I'm going to read to you about the soul. It says the deceptive ego, because many enlightened lamas from the past into the present, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama, but we're talking thousands of year old writings from old lamas, and they said they were asked this question: do we keep our ego, our spirit, our true self, rather? Do we keep our true personality in all these lives? And they said if you say yes, it's a bad thing, and if you say no, it's a bad thing. He would be hurting people because then they'd be so, it goes on and on. If you want to look at, do some research on it. I'm starting your orange here. But I read this little couple of paragraphs in this book on happiness by this wonderful guy, and he sort of answers that question. And, being gay and, raised in, and being here, 72 years, going on 72 years, and never been healthier than I am today. I'm healthy mentally and physically. But growing up, in my drinking years, gays and pianos and show tunes are you can't separate them. Gays, get a gays and a bunch of booze and a piano, and they'll be singing show tunes all night. So I knew the score to Old Man River. It's one of my, many memories of sitting around a piano listening to drunks sing, "Oh man, loving that man of mine, can't help loving that man of mine." So anyway, I love show tunes, so this sort of stuck with me. It says, our day-to-day lives, we experience the self through vulnerability. A simple smile gives an instant pleasure, and a scowl achieves the contrary. The self is always there, ready to be wounded or gratified. Rather than seeing it as a multiple and elusive, we make it a unity, central, and permanent bastion. But let's consider what purpose contributes to our identity, our body, name, and it goes on that. It's the deep sense of, I'm skipping over a lot here. It is the deep sense of self lying at the heart of our being that we have to examine honestly. Remember, beliefs are just thoughts you keep on thinking. And thoughts can be changed, but you have to put the new thought out there at least 500 times. When we explore the body, the speech, and the mind, we come to see that this self is nothing but a word, a label, a convention, a designation. The problem is that this label thinks it's the real thing. To unmask the ego's deception, we have to pursue our inquiry to the very end. When you accept the presence of a thief in your house, you have to inspect every room, every corner, every potential hiding place just to make sure there's really no one there. Only then can you rest easy. We need introspective investigation to find out what's hiding beneath the illusion of the self that we think defines our being. operative word there is that we think defines our being. Rigorous analysis leads us to conclude that the self does not reside in any part of the body, nor is it some diffused entity permeating the entire body. We willingly believe that the self is associated with consciousness, but consciousness too is an elusive current. Semicolon. In terms of living experience, the past moment of consciousness is dead. In parentheses, it says only the impact remains, end of parentheses. The future is not yet, and the present doesn't last. How could a distinct self exist, suspended like a flower in the sky between something that no longer exists and something that does not exist yet exist? It cannot be detected in either the body or the mind. It is neither a distinct entity in a combination of the two, or one outside of them. No serious analysis or direct introspective experience can lead us to a strong conviction that we possess a self. Someone may believe himself to be tall, young, and intelligent, but neither height nor youth nor intelligence is the self. Buddhism therefore concludes, thanks for sticking with me through this, Buddhism therefore concludes that the self is just a name we give to a continuum. Continuum. Oh, I love UUM words. Vacuum. Continuum. Continuum. Just as we name a river the Ganges or the Mississippi, such a continuum certainly exists, but only as a convention based upon the interpretation of the consciousness, the body, and the environment. It is entirely without autonomous existence. It must know something, it won't say nothing, but Old Man River just keeps rolling along. So we're on an endless journey through eternity. And there's plenty of time. Well, look who's here. There's the Gabby. Hi, baby. How about a kiss? Can I have a kiss? Thank you. Okay. Oh, she brought me a feather. What a sweetheart. Okay. Well, I want to tell you a little story. Okay. I was on. Everybody knows me knows I don't do Facebook. I mean, it's not for psychics. I had the most intense couple of years I experimented with Facebook, and I've been Facebook free for the last couple of years. But recently, I realized an important thing I want to share, and I think it's important. Or I wouldn't waste your time. Thank you for your time, by the way. Okay. I was answering one. I listened to a lot of YouTube videos, astrology videos, and political videos, and I mentioned I answered a reply on one video, something about Donald Trump being a cynic, and I said something else about something about him, and I got like a Facebook response. I got a message that I thought I'd never hear from a Trump supporter, and it was like a eureka moment. That's why I'm sharing this with you. I think all these people that vote and support Donald Trump know he's a terrible, terrible individual. A cynic and bait and switch artist and all these things. But the reason this guy called me when I said these things about Donald Trump were totally true, and they know it's true. But the fact is, he called me a baby killer. He actually said and that I'm a healer. I'm not a baby killer. And that is, I said, you know what? I got to share this story, and then I don't have to share it again because it'll be on YouTube. And I did share the story a decade ago when I first started. I thought it was so important, a story. Okay, so it was like I just moved in here, so it was like 30 years ago, and I was working. People would call me, and I'd make house calls, and I got a couple from this really sweet couple, and they were like Dick Van Dyke and Laura Petrie, so squeaky clean. She was from Cleveland, Ohio. He had this job, and and they finally, after 15 years of really, really wanting to get pregnant, they found themselves pregnant, only to find out that she was carrying a Down syndrome child. And hence, they called me, and and I go up there and I put my hands on the couple and especially her. And when I got to the belly area, oh, this energy! Even though it was a Down syndrome child, see, Down syndrome children is their first existence. Not much is expected of them, and they're surrounded by love. They have very short lifespans. Not much is expected of them, and they're surrounded by love, and they it's their first incarnation. It's pretty much the rule. When you get like these old souls, you see, these souls are homeless, addicts. These are old souls. These are not new. New souls wouldn't be given that. The universe is merciful. So I said, so I did. I said, well, let's. I'll come. I don't rarely did this at the time, but I was so involved with them, and as I said, that baby's energy, even though it was destined to be aborted, was the schedule was all happening and everything. Um, uh, it was beautiful. It was like I can't thinking about it now because I know that soul is probably incarnated by now with another couple who needed that, and I said, okay, I'll come back in the morning, And in the morning, I went there. It was up on Betrayal Hill, and I think it was a beautiful day. And I go in the house. The husband answers the door, and he was making chicken soup. The house smelled like soup, and and then she came out of the bathroom very dramatically, barely able to stand up, and she sat down and she says, "Oh, Frank, I vomited. I've been on the toilet, throwing up all night long." Um, and I said, "Let's see what's going on." And as soon as I got to the belly area, it was gone. The energy was gone, and I said, "Wow, yesterday it was here, and yesterday it's gone." And there was no doubt in my mind if she hadn't kept the appointment, which was in 2 days from that meeting. She had to schedule an abortion, and she went to keep it. Um, so in the future, abortion clinics will be run by psychics. Psychics will run abortion clinics, and we'll talk to the fetus, and we'll say, "Sweetheart, it's not that we don't want to have you. We just don't want to have you right now." Uh, and then they'll abort. They'll just naturally miscarry. And so I was put to this day. I'm as positive that she didn't have to go through that abortion. She would have naturally miscarried, but she went ahead and did it. Then I got a call like a month later about. I said, "Tell her, I said, yeah, this. Go ahead and do what you're going to do because you're going to have a healthy baby girl." And then I got this vision of this girl, this little white girl with she's like Shirley Temple. She had like these baloney ringlets. And I said, "Yeah, I see you very strongly with a little baby girl." And anyway, they were calling me a few months. Well, some doctors said we shouldn't try to procreate for at least 6 months, 8 months. And I said, "Oh, no, 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 no. I can't be." See, once you empower people, they try to take the power. They don't want power. They want you to take. They want to give their power to you. No, no, no. I know many psychics. Yeah, I'll take your power. Don't do this. Do this. Do this. No, no. I have enough. I have enough challenges with my own power. It's taken me 71 years to figure out how to use my own powers. I don't want yours. So I said, no, no, no. So anyway, 3 years pass. I told him, "You're going to have a baby girl. I don't know when it's going to happen, but good luck." And mazel tov. So that's so 3 or 4 years go by, and I was taking a dog. I was taking care of my neighbor's dog, and she lived over on Dolores Street in this huge mansion. And I was taking her dog over to see her, and I had just missed the 26 Valencia bus. I missed the 26. It was one of the favorite lines. Went right through the Mission, all the way on Valencia Street, and you get to see all those mansions. It was a great bus. I used to love to take the 26 line. And just when I got to the corner, the bus took off, and I thought, "Oh, God, can't I catch a break here?" So I said, "Oh well, it's only a 5-6 block walk." So I said, "Come on, Chelsea." So we're walking down, and I ran into this woman with a baby carriage, and she looked up and she said, "Frank Molinaro." And I looked at her, and I said, "Oh, hi." And then I looked at the baby. She had this 3-year-old little daughter in the stroller, and she had long baloney curls. And I said, "I saw you on the astral plane." And I reached over and gave her a big hug, and I hugged the mother, and that's how it ended. So I thought I should share that story. life begins with breaths. We come in with so many breaths. That's so important. Pranayama yoga, breath control yoga. So that's when I see these young teenage girls come up from the peninsula and take over the streets of San Francisco, right to light, right to lifers, pro-lifers who believe, who don't have the knowledge I just gave you. And these are the people that call people like me murderers. They don't understand it's racism, plain and simple. If abortions were outlawed, rich girls will not suffer. It will be the people of color. Just like right now, the epidemic with this virus is affecting people of color and poor people. It will be the poor, the non-whites, who will suffer and the rich little spoiled brat girls who go around marching. There's thousands of them. They're like cockroaches. They invade our city, take over the sidewalks, and hands out this propaganda about death is murder. I grew up in the '60s on Long Island by racist people who adopted me, and I remember watching the news in the morning, and it was like the death report. It was always a black woman. And I had an aunt who was manager of a factory that employed a lot of low ghetto people, and they would find fetuses in the bathroom, and naturally they would talk about those people, but it was the white people, like Donald Trump said, how could those people live like that? Michael Cohen, he was said on when his testimony, when he would go riding around with Donald Trump in the limousine and they would pass a bad neighborhood, Donald Trump would say only those people could live like that. God, man. Have mercy on his. I don't know, like as I said, there's a Tibetan joke. The Tibetan monks tell a joke where they say it's easier to die than it is to stay dead. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to pick some cards for you all because we've only got a few minutes left. Yeah, so I'll be doing my next show probably around the 23rd. Because I want to do 2 shows a month to keep you guys. There's a lot of great astrologers out there. Kathy Rose, Pam Gregory. If you're really into astrology, it's Pam Gregory's my favorite. She's easy to understand, and I really adore her. Okay, what do my friends out there need to know? Yeah, we've been psychically wounded, no doubt about it. And now we have to have our cups. See, God's giving, giving, giving. Cups are love, and this is our gift from God. This is what's happening now. Like this woman on the news, like I said earlier, said about, yeah, we're down to the last 10 minutes here. She said, one of the good things about this epidemic and the isolation thing, what do you mean one of it? There's nothing that's not a good thing. Yeah, so most people have their cup upside down. I defy God to give me some love. No, wake up every morning and turn your cup right side up. Pucker up, buttercup. I don't know where that comes from. Well, I love all life, and I have this thing about daddy long leg spiders. I just love them. I love all spiders. I love all insects. I live in a city now, so I get an apartment, so I don't have a yard really. But I love. For some reason, I have this thing with daddy long legs. I call them the Websters, and in my bathroom, I have a couple of long legs. I don't know if they're the same family of them. They must be. And this one just it's been suspended over my bathtub for the last week and a half. And every time I go in there, I look at him, and he's just hanging there. And he just won't move. He's alive. I see him every now and then when I stare at him. He'll move a little bit, but he's just, I guess, waiting for a moth or something. So I didn't want to use the bathtub, so I've been washing my hair in the kitchen sink, and not to disturb that spider. It's a fascinating. I've never seen it. I had a lot of daddy long legs, and they usually dangle for like a day, but never like that. Oh, one of the interesting cards I like here, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys, and I think we all use this time now to do some healing. Um, and it's the Five of Cups. Um, uh, Bear with me now; it's worth it. Yeah, it's because we're all going to go to sleep at night, so why not use the school of the night? Why not? One second here. As I said, you're not alone. Surround yourself with the light of the Holy Spirit and go into the school of the night. Now, here we have the Five of Cups. Five is always a test. And America is a five life path. So you're in America. You were born in a country that needs to be in the present. See, cups are emotions and love. And here's this guy where looking at the five cups. These are things that just didn't work out. Now, what he needs to do is be in the present, turn around, pick up the two remaining cups, cross over this bridge to the castle. See, this is the river of sorrow. And here he is staring at the river of sorrow and the three cups that are no longer, empty. And then, as I said, he needs to be in the present. Five is always look at your feet, be in the present. Pick up the two remaining cups, cross over the bridge, over the sea of the river of sorrow, Old Man River, and get to this castle and have a good time. Suffering, pain is inevitable. Suffering's an option. We have to choose to whether we're going to suffer or not. I saw Donald Trump. I was watching a Barnaby Jones the other day, and Barnaby Jones said to this guy at the end of the movie was a friend of his who hoodwinked him and said into doing these nasty. He was a murderer, and Donald Trump and Barnaby Jones. He said to at the end, the last scene of the movie was he said to Donald Trump. He said to Barnaby Jones, "Excuse me, I'm sorry." And Donald Trump said, "Yes, you are." And that's what we got now. Sorry means wretched, miserable, dismal, pitiful, as a slum or is a sorry place. Inferior in worth or quality, poor, as in sorry exhibition of acting. See, we got a sorry presidency. Donald Trump's presidency has been, in every sense of the word, a sorry time. Donald the miserable. He's a miserable person. When the power of love becomes more key than the love of power, that's when we get it. Pluto was not only the Lord. Is not only the Lord of the underworld, but also the God of wealth, reminding us of the riches that lie in the shadows of our psyche. So remember now, we're not against wealth. We're against corporations, and we want them to. We want laws that make it's not up and not even up for a discussion. Are they evil or not? They are. But see, the advertising, Madison Avenue, advertisement. They make it sound like, hey, Gabby. They make it sound like. Corporations are these saintly places that, especially the nonprofits, they're goddamn worse. Yeah, those are the SOBs you gotta really watch with an ego. They're the ones that are screwing you without lube, man. So I don't want to be graphic there, but corporations are just. It's got to be a total. We got to. What's being deconstructed, and people with the power don't relinquish it. You watch this election. Donald Trump said everybody close to him, all his Klan members, all these white supremacists, they're saying that when he loses the election, he's not going to walk out easily. The man wouldn't go away with an impeachment. You think the losing an election is going to, But it's important not to be a cynic. It's important to be a cynic. I was online the other day waiting to get into Whole Foods on Market Street, and one of these kids reminded me of my godson, who's 40 now. He's a kid of color, and he had a good sense of humor, like my godson used to have before he became a wannabe Navy SEAL. He drank the Kool-Aid, hook, line, and sinker, so I couldn't deal with him anymore. And I hear he's happily married somewhere in the world. But anyway, this kid reminded me of my godson, and what I just can't deal with it anymore. It's been a good 30 years since I talked to since the Bush, since the war, since 9/11. So it's been 18 years then. But anyway, and I was telling him, well, you got to watch my show. My last show, I talk about cynicism as intellectual treason. Cynics know the price of everything, the value of nothing. And then we talked for a little while, had a few laughs. And then he had to go on. And then his buddy came along, which was like a heavy-set black guy. And he said, hey, you should talk to this guy. So I said to him, yeah, it was... And before I could say anything about Donald Trump, he said, I got a $20 bet with my brother-in-law that Donald Trump's going to win the second election. He's going to be a two-time. And I looked at him and I went, wow. I said, don't say that. I said, but then I realized I'm not going to call a 200-pound guy, guy. I'm only, 140, It's this guy, was a fraction of my age and double my size. I wasn't going to get into a fight with him about cynicism that I would even do that with anybody. But so I just said, just kept quiet. I mean, once people tell you the way they believe and they're not a client of mine, I can't do anything except pray for them. But I think that was, as I said, a reason why people have. It's like the dog they experiment with, and every time the dog tries to leave the cage, he gets a shock, and then after a while, the dog says, "What the hell? Just stay here." I think people have been shocked so much, And once again, I found an interesting little thing here. It said. We live in a lap of immense intelligence, which makes us receivers of its truth and all that, and organs of its activity. There was something else I wanted to say here, but I only got less than a minute left. Oh well, I guess it's gonna have to wait until next time. I love you guys, and thanks for tuning in San Francisco and on YouTube. And press like if you like it. I like to see those things. I'm not attached to it, but at least you're viewing it. I love you. I love you. Random acts of kindness. Bye. Thank you so much for your time. I know your time is valuable. Gabby wants to say goodbye. There she is. Oh, there's my little girl. She stole my heart. Yes, Gabby, say goodbye. Now she wants to climb on me. Okay, we got to go. It's time for some parrot love. Take care, everybody. Let it shine.